And it's on.
All right.
All right. Welcome back or welcome to Orange County's very own. I'm your host, Makai Louie. Hope everyone is doing well. I got my guest tonight, Jacob Guillen. Welcome to the show, my man. How we feeling?
Good. How about yourself?
Feeling good. I'm good too, man. It's been a long day and long week so far.
Awesome.
But nonetheless, I'm happy to have you on, man. Funny enough, Jacob was one of my first guests on Orange County's very own, but we lost the files. We're not going to put blame or point out who that is, but we all know. But nonetheless, just happy to have you back on here, man.
Happy to be back.
No doubt, dog. And I've been seeing you grinding,
Yeah.
putting in work. We're going to dive into Jacob's life, just like we do with a lot of our guests. And I've respected a lot of what Jacob's been doing with his own business, and just love the hustle, man. And we're just out here learning and growing.
Exactly.
And yeah, and you got some other cool stuff going on. So, nonetheless, let's hop into this. If you're listening to this right now for the first time, thank you very much. If you haven't checked out any other episodes, go ahead and look back in the library. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all that good stuff. Jacob Guillen's also got his social media, which we'll plug as well. What is your social media, by the way? Where do you spend a lot of your time? Where can people find you?
Instagram mainly is where I do most of my, advertising and stuff like that. But it's just Guillen Surfcraft on Instagram. So
Guillen Surfcraft.
Yeah, Guillen Surfcraft.
There it is, baby.
There
it is. Big plug. So cool, man. So talk to this. First of all, how was your day today?
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Went surfing this morning.
Beautiful.
Yeah, me and Clayton were doing some stuff down at the beach too, filming that kind of stuff for
That's right.
something else that he's working on.
Yeah.
So yeah, did that, and then went home working on some custom boards for a couple of customers and stuff like that, and then ate some dinner and came here.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
So talk to us about Guillen Surfcraft. Take us back to the beginning of everything. Like how did surfing come into your life? And give us a little background of who you are, because you're based out of Orange County. You're born and raised here too.
Yeah.
So bring us back, man. Take us through the journey.
So I first started this whole journey of surfing when I was a
Yeah, that was my bad.
That's all good. When I was a senior in high school, I believe, or between junior and senior year in high school.
Okay.
And that's when I first started surfing. And from there, I basically just, I standard kind of went on a trip to Hawaii and gave it a shot and decided, this is kind of something I like to do, and came back and started doing it here. So after that, I kind of got more into it here. And that's how I initially got started with the actual surfing. And then during senior year, we have what are called, senior projects.
Mm-hmm.
And at our school, we could either do like a project or we could job shadow somebody, something like that. And so I decided my project was going to be to actually make a surfboard. And that was my senior project,
That's
so
badass.
That's where I reached out to somebody. They kind of showed me the ropes, running me through the shaping of my first board. And that's where I kind of, made my first board, and that's where it all kind of launched off from.
That's sweet. And to give people who don't know you, give them an insight as well as what you're doing now, so it'll kind of tie things together. So what do you do now? Like, what would you kind of title what you do and what your business is?
So right now, I would consider myself a surfboard shaper.
Okay.
Mainly. I own my own business, of making custom surfboards for people, but
Beautiful.
I also, I also have a few other things I do in the surfing world too. I do shaping lessons at a shop called Foam Easy in Westminster.
Shout out Foam Easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Westminster. That's where my pops and my mom are from.
Oh, really?
Family. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I spend so much time over there in Westminster because that's where that shop is.
Okay.
And I've worked there as an employee, as like a regular associate for like 4 years before I actually started doing like the shaping lesson portion.
That's dope.
So
there you go.
So
getting that groundwork in there.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's where I kind of got my start in like the surfing industry. So,
Very cool. Very cool. So yeah, that's what Jacob's doing, man. It's super cool. I mean, I don't wake up and walk around and meet surfboard shapers or people that own their own surfboard companies. So I just think it's really cool. Nonetheless, like the entrepreneurial side of it too. I'm always like, people that follow me understand, like I am very I work with a lot of executives
Okay.
in the role in my company, and I love, and it's within a startup company as well. So just seeing the evolution of a company and what it takes to evolve and grow and build is just so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So
I actually, where do you work? I haven't actually talked to you about that
yeah,
before.
yeah. I work for a company called Audit Board. It's a
Okay.
software company specifically within audit, risk, and compliance.
Okay.
It's a startup company out of LA,
All right.
and I'm in talent acquisition, so I'm a recruiter for our
Oh, okay.
company. Um, Many different levels of positions, but we are hiring. But yeah, shout out Audit Board, man.
Yeah,
Wonderful company.
cool.
Yeah.
You know Thomas, right? From that we went to high school
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
Yeah, he does that same thing. I think.
100%.
Yeah.
Funny enough, shout out Thomas, man. He's a really good guy. He really is. Thomas G. He's in Colorado, yeah.
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 Fly fishing and doing HR and recruiting. And
Yeah, I
stuff
might
over
have to
there,
get him
so.
on here too. Talk about some fly fishing.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. But he actually hit me up about an opportunity too at his company.
Oh, really?
Doing the same thing. Great people over there too at his company and everything he's doing. Great guy. But yeah, man. So so you got that exposure, right?
Yeah.
Had the high school project.
Exactly.
I remember everyone talking about that senior project too.
Lugging a big old surfboard around for the presentation day.
Yeah, dude. Everyone's like, "What is he doing?" That's really cool. So talk to us. So from that point, where do you go from there? Because obviously it had to have sparked something.
Yeah, exactly. I've always, been a creative kind of person. I've always been into art and, mainly, before it was always like art classes or like, painting, drawing, that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
But then once I gave the surfboard shaping a shot, that's when I was actually like, oh, this is actually something, it's cool because I get to make surfboards, but it's also cool because it kind of factors in this whole art background that I've kind of been, like growing my whole life so far. So
Yeah, let's unpack that a little
Okay.
bit though. As far as the art of it, talk to us
Yeah.
about that piece that you like about, because I can
So-
tell even in your face when you're talking about it, like that's the shit right there.
yeah,
for
I
you.
mean that's like the fun for me. That's like what initially like really drew me into it.
Yeah.
It's because surfboard shaping. It's basically like it basically is like sculpting, pretty much is what I would, is what I would say it's like most similar to. you know?
Yeah.
So it's basically like sculpting a big piece of foam down to a shaped surfboard. That's what the initial.
And what are you
shaping part-
using? What are you using for this?
So for me, I have like a base set like tool or a base tool set.
Okay.
My main tool that I use for like 90% of what I do is a surfboard planer or an electric planer.
Yeah.
So
what is that doing?
It's basically it's like a weird kind of tool where it's basically a flat tool. The front plate kind of moves so that you can open it up and close it, and then there's like a blade right in the center. So it's basically made for taking off large chunks of foam.
Gotcha.
And that's what I use for 90% of my shaping. It's basically like like a.
And it's
like
all hand. Like you're not plugging in numbers into
No.
like a CNC machine.
So
and
yeah,
letting it
so
run.
there's actually I remember we talked about that last time. So
yeah.
I do what's called hand shaping, which is basically like the way that people have been shaping surfboards initially since like the 60s.
That's crazy.
Back in the last 20 years, 30 years or so, though, they've kind of started using a lot more CNC machines, which is something
Right.
that tons of people are using nowadays. CNC machines, 3D printers, all that kind of stuff. People are really incorporating that into surfboard making nowadays, but I've chosen to kind of go on the hand shaping route just because I like it better, and that's the way that
Yeah.
I kind of initially got into it.
I respect it, dude.
Yeah,
I
and
respect
then
That's what gives that touch, I'm sure, to your customers. They
exactly,
probably
yeah.
love it.
It's like
Probably love it.
it's like buying something that's handcrafted, versus
There's one in
buying
the
something
world.
that's made. Exactly,
There's one in the world.
Yeah,
You can't. Yeah.
you
The
can't
CN
mimic it, you can't recreate it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, and as far as the art go, like, do you enjoy the process of like the tedious side of it, right? Like the measurement side of it, the precision piece of it, or like what about that art too? Do you enjoy?
Yeah, I mean,
in the process.
Obviously the making different types of designs and all that kind of stuff is a fun part of it, but also making sure that every single time I shape a board, I'm better about making sure that I get my measurements correct, or I get everything symmetrical, or
Yeah.
I don't mess up during one step and make one side too narrow or too thick, something like that.
Yeah.
Just making sure, since I am doing it by hand, obviously there's a bigger margin for error. There's a
Yeah.
huge,
There's a lot more
exactly.
human error.
I can do one little movement with my hand, and all of a sudden this side's half an inch thinner than that side, or something. So I just got to be careful with my hands, Make
And
sure.
there's only so much material in front of you.
Exactly. Yeah. Once you start cutting into the foam, it disappears like that. So you got to be careful. You got to make sure that you don't sand one side too much or anything like that. So
That's cool stuff, man. So going back into the journey, leaving high school. Now you're outside of high school. Talk to us about this, and then I really want to understand from your experience what it was to get the business started, and that process. Maybe some hurdles. We'll dive into it, but yeah, bring us back to the journey.
Once I initially shaped that first board, obviously I kind of just, after doing that first one, I wanted to just do a few. I wanted to start doing more, So
Yeah,
I actually
got the itch.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't initially it wasn't like, the week after I was already back doing it again.
Yeah.
I waited a few months, just because I don't know. I just had other stuff I was doing, school and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually I got back. I went to the shop that I ended up working at, Foam EZ, because that's one of the few places around that supply surfboard blanks, which is actually the foam blank that you use to shape the board. So I went there, bought my first blank to shape a board on my own, and just brought it back home and shaped my second one in my garage. Yeah. Gave it a shot all on my own this time. Didn't turn out too horrible, not as good as what I do nowadays,
Yeah.
But I wasn't, it wasn't something that I was like, oh, this is horrible,
Right. So it wasn't too bad. So you knew too, like the talent piece was there, like
I knew like it was something that like I knew if I could do a board like this for my second shot, I'm like, okay, like I can, this board works at least, so I can, exactly. I can go somewhere with this now, kind of.
That's tight.
But yeah, and then from there, it just kind of snowballs from there, like. Kept making more boards for myself. Once I made a few, a couple of friends started asking for boards and stuff, started making them for them. And then I just kind of, like everything does, you just kind of start making more and more. And then, eventually it's 8 years later and you've made a ton. But as far as like the actual business itself too, I really didn't even start focusing on like trying to build a business or like trying to
like establish it, get an LLC or like whatever the
and
was.
Starting to like build like a solid customer base, people who are actually want to buy boards from me, or like starting to build up Instagram followers, all that kind of normal stuff that goes into like having a business that has like a somewhat decent profile,
Definitely.
I didn't even start doing that kind of stuff till at least probably about 2.5 years ago or so. So
wow.
It was a few years there of just kind of working at the shop, going to school, and just making boards for myself, just improving basically my shaping skills as a whole. Because I figured like if I actually do want to do this, like I need to build a solid foundation of shaping skills, and just get good at this. Not just be someone who just started out and is already trying to sell boards out
totally.
there. I wanted to actually build up the craft and make sure that I knew in my heart that I was good enough, like I felt like, okay, I'm making a solid product and I'm happy to put this out there.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to give these boards to people now.
Yeah, that's dope. I mean, that I respect it a lot because quality matters so much.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, especially product, right?
For sure.
And handmade.
Yeah.
Even more, which I could only imagine. Like.
Yeah, it takes a lot more. It's a higher learning curve, than normal.
Yeah.
Like.
And the ability, like just like anything else, like when we put a piece of content out, or when you even post something, like you're putting yourself out there. You're being vulnerable.
Exactly.
And even with what you do in your business, you are putting that out there, on display. And so one thing I want to talk about, which I think is pretty cool, is like how you found some of the clients that you have over time. Because I know you spend a lot of time in the water out here in Southern California.
Yeah.
Surfing. Is it like a normal thing for you? Like pretty much like a ritual thing, like every morning or
not every
week
morning
for sure?
Definitely I try to get out as much as I can. Obviously there's there's times of the year or like months where I'll go without surfing as much as I would really like to.
Sure.
But summertime's always like a heavy time to go surfing. Like it's warm out, it's easy to wake up early and go when it's 80 degrees out every day. So and the water's 70 degrees too. But
no doubt.
But yeah, it's definitely something that's become like a ritual in my life. I go surfing at least a couple times a week, if not more like 4 or 5 times a week.
That's dope.
And
you've met clients out there surfing, yeah?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, people, even if it's something as simple as somebody just coming up and being like, "Hey, nice board," or like, "I saw you riding that wave and that board looks nice." I'm like, "Oh yeah, thanks. I made it myself. I make surfboards," and just start the conversation.
Awesome.
From there, basically.
It's beautiful. That's such a great conversation starter.
Exactly.
For that world.
Is. Yeah. And when people find out that you're actually making your own boards and stuff, it's just something, people are usually a little bit like surprised or like intrigued, and they start asking more questions and, but yeah, I mean, the spot I go to normally, I know guys out in the water, guys that I work with are always surfing out there too. A few of my like buddies that shape as well, so it's cool seeing them out there.
That's dope.
We're all on boards that we shaped ourselves usually, so yeah.
You guys got a whole community, huh? I'm not familiar with the surf world. Like crazy or not, like I'm a Polynesian, born and raised in Orange County, and I've never ridden a wave.
Yeah, you should be tuned in with the whole thing.
That's what I'm saying. Dude, I'm not dialed right now, dude. Yeah. I need some help, man. That's what I need. I need to spend some time. But
yeah, it's definitely a community. It's it seems bigger like in scope than it really ends up feeling like,
Yeah.
Because when you go to the beach, you'll usually see, especially if you're going to similar spots too, you'll see the same people over and over again. Like you'll see the same guy out in the water. Exactly. Yeah. You go to the same spot 5 days a week, you'll see that same guy out there. You'll see the same 5 or 10 guys out there every single time.
That's cool.
And yeah, it definitely is a community.
That's really cool. So talk to us about your business now. Like things are busy. I know, like just talking to you off the pod, dude, like things are busy, which is great. So talk to us about that piece of it too, like a one-man shop handling that piece of it, wanting to obviously provide your customers and do it in a timely manner. Talk to us about that piece of it and your plans kind of for your business.
So yeah, obviously I'm right now just basically working on custom orders that I have. Also, I'll pretty much always be kind of making boards even if I don't have a stock pot or like a back order of orders like in line already.
Right.
I'll kind of just make boards that I want to make, or make some stock boards that I'll eventually ride a little bit and sell, or just sell if someone hits me up about it. I'm always posting about boards on my Instagram that I get back from the glass shop and stuff. But yeah, my business right now, I'm just kind of working on growing my business in general. Obviously, like I was saying earlier, working still on improving my shaping abilities. Even though I've gotten to a point, man. Exactly, yeah. Even though I've gotten to the point where I feel like I do make good boards and I make boards that ride well, shaping's like, it's not just a thing where you learn how to do it and then all of a sudden, okay, I'm good enough and I don't need to learn anymore. You're always learning. Like you never want to just plateau off with your skills. You always want to keep learning. Even after you've been doing it for 10, 20 years, there's always something to learn. And that's basically where I'm kind of at, just trying to learn, trying to grow my business, Obviously, you can always use more customers and always use, more orders,
That's it, man. Yeah, if you're looking for a custom-made surfboard, hit up the boy, Jacob Guillen, man. Guillen Surfcraft. You already know the vibe. What a market to be in, too. I mean, Orange County, Southern California, I mean... It's a great fit for you, man. Right? It's a great fit for you, man. Yeah. We live in it's a beautiful place. Grateful to be here, no doubt.
Yeah, I think California is one. For me personally, I think California, at least for what I do, is one of the best places to be. Just because the amount of different places and different types. You can go all up and down the coast here. There's a million different surf spots, and you can spend your entire lifetime just exploring the coast of California, and you'll probably never even search all of it. I've only ever wild. Really.
It's wild to think about actually how
exactly.
Big
yeah, I've only surfed like half of it maybe, and in that I've maybe only surfed like 60% of the spots.
That's
like,
wild. Dude.
So It's
Can you?
nuts.
Yeah. What's your favorite? I mean, not to like give out any spoilers.
It's all right. Yeah, I
But
mean,
like, ones that like maybe notable ones, and I want to ask you like notable clients that you might have too, or anything of that nature.
yeah. So, notable spots, or my
That
favorite
you've been to,
spots,
yeah,
that
yeah.
I've been to. It's kind of, I mean, the spot that I usually frequent is Bolsa Chica in Huntington Beach. It's kind
Okay.
of just a nice wave on its days, But
For sure.
the thing about surf spots too is like every spot's gonna have its day and not have its day, Like you'll show up to one spot on a day and it will be like it's never been before, So, but obviously some of my favorite spots are probably around Santa Barbara area, just because there's really good kind of point breaks around there, and stuff, and those are kind of ideal kind of waves for,
That's
especially they're the best kind of waves you'll usually find in California.
Oh yeah.
But I've surfed spots in Bali and stuff too.
Yeah.
And,
Didn't you go? You and Clayton?
no,
Where'd you
not
guys go?
Clayton didn't go with me. I went with my buddy Tyler and my buddy Austin.
Okay.
We went a couple back in 2018. We went to Bali, and then I went again in 2019 with my buddy Hunter and his now wife. So
That's dope.
Yeah.
Well, where did you go with Clayton and them?
we went to Panama, actually.
Panama.
Yeah. We didn't
What-
get as good of surf there though, so I can't say that I like the spots there better.
That's fair. That's
but
fair.
yeah, Bali's kind of known for its surfing, and it's kind of known for like being like a hub where like people go to like travel to like just for surfing.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was like kind of just an insane trip, especially going
That
for
is
that
crazy.
first time. You're just like first time going to Asia, all that kind of stuff. You're just like culture shock and everything like that.
And you're bringing a surfboard, lunking around a surfboard
A
with you.
huge like 50 to 60-pound bag, probably full of like surfboards and clothes and all sorts of
Yeah,
wet,
how
or
fun
trunks.
though, dude. Do you
yeah.
have any plans like that? As far as like traveling to go surf anywhere?
Talking
in the
about
next
doing
year?
some
I mean, it's like
stuff,
I know the world's in a weird place, but
Exactly, yeah.
nonetheless.
I'm talking about doing some stuff. Obviously, I've got lots of places I would love to go.
Yeah,
I
dude.
love traveling and stuff, but I haven't really done a ton of it over the last 2 years, just like everyone else. But but yeah, I mean, got stuff in the works, but nothing set in stone yet.
I feel it. I'm curious, as far as like your customers go. Do you get like certain feedback about like, because like it's so interesting like with customers and like with the type of feedback they give you. Not all of them give you like constructive feedback.
Yeah.
But I know like you're one like how you're telling us here about how important it is about refurbishing those skills over time and because they will fall off.
Exactly.
They will diminish over time. So. But if in business, our customers or like even our partners at work can help us find different areas of improvement of our own selves. Do you find that it's harder to get that from your customers and clients, and it's more intrinsic, or what do you feel? I'm curious from your standpoint.
I mean, if you want, like for me, since I know so much about, and I'm not trying to say like, oh, I know so much about surfboard shipping, but I mean, I've done enough of it so that like.
Yeah.
I know a decent amount,
For
and
sure.
I can get technical with it if I want to, So
Yeah,
I find
yeah.
myself sometimes like, I always ask like my customers usually a couple weeks after they get a board from me or something, or after I know they've surfed it, like, oh, how's it riding for you,
Totally.
And usually it's always positive feedback, I don't think I've ever really had someone give me
So-
negative feedback, like, oh, it doesn't work at all or anything like that.
I got a splinter in my toe.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Never
anything
that.
like that.
Never that.
But I always find like I want to try to ask like deeper questions, or like some like very like specific kind of questions.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I don't know if they're really gonna like be able to even like give me like a real response to that, or like
Totally.
like something that maybe they won't even know like how to answer unless they've been surfing the board for like a year or something like that.
Totally.
Too,
Like how they would receive that question from you.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know,
so
it's tough.
I'm always like, I'll always ask them, and I'll always try to take what I can from the responses that they give me.
100%.
But I also know like, oh, I want to try to dig a little bit deeper in there, or if I could like actually be at the beach, like watching them ride the board myself, like with my own eyes, and I'd be like, okay, then I've kind of get a couple of things, or kind of like maybe a couple of sparks will go off in my head, from there.
For sure.
And then I also, I'll make boards for buddies. Like I was just talking about my friend Hunter, who I went to Bali with. I made a couple of boards for him, a couple of boards of mine that he rides. And I've been able to see him ride, those boards, and other stuff that I made for him too, like fins and that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So
that's key. So you usually have like one solid person can give you some constructive.
exactly, yeah. So he's kind of
It's tough. It's really interesting. Like I don't know, people out there that or that don't own small businesses or businesses in general get into that field. They don't understand sometimes like the battle there is to get that feedback from your customers.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not
because customers at the end of the day, man, their needs, everyone is different. Dude,
exactly.
You know, and I'm sure you're seeing that too with each customer. Like they
Yeah.
might have specs that they want. And that's what matters the most to them, you know, and everything that's a priority to you might go to the top. But then you gotta compromise with that and, you know, meet their needs and still make that still quality product that you're bringing out.
Yeah, I definitely like people come to me with a certain idea, and me thinking in my head, I'd be like, well, that's not what I would want, you know?
Right,
but if that's what you want, I'll make it for you, you know?
Yeah.
So I try not to like impose my like thoughts too much on what the customer wants too, you know? I'm like, if they want this, I'll make it for them, you know?
Totally.
And I'll try to make it work based on what they want, you know?
Find that balance in there.
Exactly, you know, yeah, like I'll take a little bit of like creative freedom to kind of like I'll give you those dimensions that you want, but I'm going to make something that I feel like is a good design, and I'm going to put like my sort of bottom contours that I want to put in there. I want to put my rail shape or my nose and tail shapes, that kind of stuff. And I'm going to make a board that I feel like works, you know?
Yeah.
Or I'm going to put in the elements that I feel like are going to work, you know?
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So something we talked about off the pod, but super cool because I'm grinding and looking forward to something as well. That's going to be a battle physically.
Yeah.
But talk to us a little bit about it. You're taking a bike ride. I'll have you explain it because it sounds crazy.
Yeah, we're just doing a what's called like a bike packing trip.
Bikepacking?
Yeah, that's what it's called. Bikepacking, or basically it's like backpacking, except instead of being, you know, walking,
just straight walking it.
Instead of walking or hiking, you're on your bike, you know. So you load up your tent, you load up your sleeping mat, your sleeping bag, all your essentials onto your bike, and then you ride from spot to spot, or like we're gonna be riding from San Francisco down, basically back home. So
yeah, back to OC.
My buddy lives in Huntington Beach, so on that last kind of day, we're planning on like splitting up at some point, you know. So I'm gonna ride back into Placentia, more northern OC, you know, and he's gonna kind of stick on the coast, ride down like through Long Beach, down into back into Huntington Beach. So
that is insane.
But yeah, so
and what's the plan? How are you gonna get there?
We're gonna take the Amtrak up. Yeah, so they have a I don't remember the name of the train, but it runs like only on the weekends. So on a Friday, we're going to head up there, planning on staying the night in San Francisco that night.
Okay.
And then that next morning, taking off. And then
it's insane.
You know, it's like we're at the average like 60 to 70 miles per day around there.
60 to 70 a day for how many days?
We're going to do it. I think it's going to take us 8 days. So we're going to be leaving on Friday.
Dude, that's...
no. We're going to be we're going to leave on the train on Friday.
Yeah.
Saturday is going to be our first day actually riding, and then we should arrive home based on the plan that next Saturday. So a full week and a day, you know.
That's crazy, bro. Yeah,
it's gonna be nuts.
What made you guys want to do this? Was this
my buddy? He's done trips like this before.
Okay.
And I've always seen him doing them.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, he works at a bike shop.
Has somebody does this before?
Yeah, it's a thing. Bikepacking. If you look it up, you know, there's a whole Reddit page on it.
Is there?
Yeah, there is.
I'm not surprised.
There's a Reddit for everything, but
there is.
But yeah, I mean, my buddy works at a bike shop. He's been biking his whole life, you know, and so I kind of saw, you know, his Instagram posts and stuff like that a year back or so. And I was like, oh, I kind of was like into biking a little bit, just like nothing crazy like that, you know. But I'd always been wanting
to get an 8-day ride.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would like ride my bike around like town, you know, but not like anything longer than like probably 10 miles, you know.
Yeah.
And I was, you know, once I saw him doing that, I was like, oh, that's kind of something I might want to try to get into, you know. And so I eventually like bought a nicer kind of like, not really a road bike, but it's kind of a mix between, it's kind of like what you call like a gravel bike. It's basically a road bike, but with like thicker tires on it, you know.
Okay.
Made so you can ride it on dirt or on the road, you know. And so I bought that, and then we actually did a trip, like a small kind of version of this trip a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it was later January, I think, when we did that.
Okay.
Or mid-February, sometime.
I was gonna
a
ask.
few
I
weeks
mean,
ago.
I could have. I'm trying to calculate the amount of miles it's gonna be in my head, but
Yeah, it
I
ends
was
up.
gonna ask, like, are you?
The whole ride is like 500 and something.
Yeah,
I
and
think.
you're saying you haven't biked over 10
No. I have biked over
since
10.
then now?
Yeah. So once I got this new bike, this actual like
That's
decent
right.
bike,
You guys tried.
I
something
started kind of like training myself, and then we actually did a little test ride, kind of just because I had like all the equipment and stuff now, like the bike,
Yeah.
like backpacking tent, all that kind of stuff. And so I rode from my house down to San Clemente, which is a 50-mile ride.
Yeah,
So I did
dude.
that.
That's a push for sure.
And he went from HB to San Clemente, which is about 35 miles. So
Okay.
I did like I did a
did
longer
longer.
version, but yeah, basically one day we rode down there, next day we rode back. So I rode about 100 miles in 2 days. So.
No stop or into. Okay, I see. I see.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see.
So all the way
All
down
the way
there
down
the
there in
first
one
day,
shot?
all the way. But yeah, I mean, well, we stopped, a little bit and stuff,
Here and there.
But besides that, yeah, just not besides like 10-minute breaks and stuff, nothing. Yeah, just straight up.
That's
So,
dope. That's dope.
But yeah, I've been.
Do you train for that outside of like? Do you
Kind
do stuff
of.
like I
For
don't know.
that ride, I knew like I had never ridden 50 miles before, so
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I was basically just trying to build up to doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I've never really been like great at, or I mean, no one really likes them, but like riding up hills, that's what
Yeah,
kind of
dude.
sucks. Always the worst part.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a few hills around my house, so
Yeah.
I'll train by like riding up those hills and stuff
Smart.
nowadays.
Smart.
But yeah, for this one, I took a little bit of a break after that last one. Now I'm kind of ramping it back up.
I would too, bro. What the heck?
So yeah, so now I'm kind of ramping it back up, and
That's dope,
I'm kind
dude.
of starting to get ready for this ride later this month.
This
so.
month, yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, I bring it up because I'm training for a race as well.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's my legs. I'm not going to be on wheels. I am not a runner, dude. I've been a big boy my entire life, and I played offensive line. I used to push people for my job.
Yeah, I used to play
I wasn't the
O-line and
runner.
D-line and Pee Wee too. So
Shit, man, that's what I'm saying. Like, we ain't about this. We don't do this, man.
exactly.
But like we always talk about on Orange County's very own, and just the conversations I have in life, man. Like, when you put yourself in uncomfortable positions, you just grow.
Exactly.
As
Yeah.
simple as it is, and this was another one for me, to push, not necessarily push my limits, but do something uncomfortable, and it's called Ragnar. It's called a Ragnar relay race, and it's essentially a 12-person team. I'm gonna be going with Audit Board, my peeps over there, and you basically have 2 vans. It's like a whole mission, dude.
Damn.
You got 2 vans, 6 people in each van. It's a day. It's one day and night, and another day full, and we're racing in legs from San Diego to Huntington Beach Pier. Our destinations, which is why I wanted to bring this up too, is the fact that both of our like end destinations. Yours is more home, but like is Huntington Beach
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well, which is crazy.
Yeah, my buddies will be Huntington Beach. His
It's
house
crazy,
at
bro.
17th Street. So
That's wild. That's wild. So yeah, bro. So I'm training for that as well. And again, I'm not a runner, so I'm like, I have a certain approach to it, and I'm going about it every day. And just like we talked about before, bro. Like, I'm not out here trying to get first place, get the best time. Like, I'm just trying to finish.
exactly.
I got
yeah.
it's like a 10.8 mile leg to start.
Wow.
I'm running up in La Jolla, San Diego, like La Jolla area.
Yeah.
Up in the last like three and a half plus miles is all uphill. Straight, the elevation goes from like 100 to like 900. I forget
Wow.
what it is, but
Is it right around like that UCSD area?
yes,
right around there?
yes,
Okay.
literally right there. And that's the first leg, and then I have about, I don't know how many runners go in front of me, so they run their legs, and I get to rest.
Yeah.
And it goes into the nighttime, and then I run again. I run like a 6 mile leg, like 5.8 mile leg.
Yeah.
Same 24 hours, and then we camp. We'll probably still be like, I can't imagine where we're gonna be, honestly, but we're gonna have to camp somewhere, or like in our tents or whatever we're at. Wake up the next day, and then we're essentially just going up the coast, and we're going all the way. We'll go up. My last leg's like 3 miles going into Santiago Canyon College,
Oh, okay.
and then my run is done. So it's like 18 and a half something miles in total. Most running I've ever done.
But
and like
spaced out too is a nice
exactly.
kind of
And
thing.
so that was one of the things. It's like I know a lot of people who have done things like 75 hard like I've done
Yeah.
and want to like continue to push themselves physically. I know my limits. You know, I've had major spine injuries throughout my time as an athlete. And I just, again, I want to push myself and be careful. You know, I got a little one, and I just can't.
Yeah, you don't need
None of us can afford
Exactly.
to just get hurt like crazy. So,
Yeah.
nonetheless, man, I'm super excited about it. I'm
That
stoked for you
sounds like
too,
an
bro.
awesome ride or
We'll
an
have to-
awesome thing, dude.
Yeah, we'll reconnect, obviously. Getting ready for Clayton's wedding
Yeah.
and everything else.
For sure.
And
Exciting things coming in the
we'll talk
future.
about how that goes for both of us. But man, it was a pleasure to have you on here again, man. And as always, like respect the hustle. You know, keep getting after
Same
it.
to you too.
Keep sharpening those tools like you're doing, those skills, and refining them. And we'll be doing the same thing over here, dog.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate it.
Plug the people one more time, man. This is Jacob Guillen. And you can find him. Where can they find you best? On Instagram mainly?
So it's Guillen Surfcraft on Instagram, GUILLEN Surfcraft.
Boom.
That's my main place to hit me up, and then through there, direct messages are always received, and
Yep.
yeah, that's the main place. If you're looking for me, hit me up through there, and yeah, thanks for having me on too.
No doubt.
Nice
man.
to talk to you again.
Always,
nice to get connected again.
Hell
So
yeah. Hell yeah. Well, to everybody else, man, as always, take care of your bodies, man. Take care of your minds. Take care of your spirits. And take care of the people around you. I'm Makai Louie. This is Orange County's very own. Until next time, keep getting after it. Love you guys. Peace. Boom, baby.
Sweet.
Good stuff, dog.
Oh, it's so weird talking into these things and like
I know.
having it like.
It's so different. Let's see.